Welcome to Canada, a country known for its breathtaking winters. If you're a newcomer, you might be wondering what winter mornings are really like here. In this video, I'm going to go through and show you my typical winter morning here in Canada. When I looked out my window and saw the snow falling, I already knew, and I braced myself because I knew that the next morning it's gonna be a little bit of a struggle. Layers are key in this weather. A good winter jacket, warm gloves, a hat, some good old boots will definitely, trust me, make a difference. When the temperature drops, it's most important to protect your skin and stay warm, especially when you're not used to the cold. Now, if you own a car, you're likely going to need to spend a few more minutes in the morning clearing the snow off your windshield, windows, and roof. It's a task that becomes part of your daily routine here in Canada. And be sure to keep your vehicle winter ready with snow tires for better traction on icy roads. Cause listen, I learned that the hard way. I be watching people slipping and sliding. Like, you don't want to be slipping and sliding, okay? You don't want to scare yourself. Just make sure always that you have your winter tires on. Now, when it comes to what to expect and how long to expect winter in Canada, it is usually from late November to March. Canadian winters are cold, snowy in many regions, very quite long. Don't be intimidated because at the end of the day, it all still depends on where you live. Like Vancouver have a much more milder, wet winter. So does Toronto. I could definitely admit that Toronto is one of the more warmer cities. In southern Canada, most snow can start as early as November. By December, many areas are covered with thick blanket of snow. The temperature can drop between negative 20 Celsius. But don't worry about that. Like, Canadians are always prepared, and just make sure that you're prepared as well by layering up and getting the right gear. That's the most thing, to always make sure that you're comfortable in these types of weather. Snow can mean work in some cities. Streets get plowed and sidewalks are salted regularly. But if you live in a house, you'll be responsible for clearing your own driveways and walkways. If you live in an apartment like me, then you don't have to worry about that. And even with me, this is not something that I'm supposed to be going through. That's just a decision that me and my husband made. But we also have a garage too that we could have went into. So these are things that can make your life less more complicated, I would say. So it's just always, sometimes it could be responsibility based. So if you have a house, if you have an apartment, then cool, that is not your responsibility, But just enjoy the fresh air and the winter beauty, and you'll be good to go. Listen, those of you that are going to be on public transportation, I talked about this on a previous video I did maybe a year ago. Listen to me, because your girl went through it. Be prepared. Don't mind me without no gloves, without no hat on right now. It's a different when you're actually when you have a car. When you're doing, you have to be a little bit more strategic in the way you do things. You have to be way more prepared, because it's unpredictable, right? You just don't know what to expect with public transportation. Even when it comes to making sure that you have the app, any app, I don't care what it is, just make sure it is a reliable app that basically helps you to know when the bus is coming, because you don't want to, the most you want to be waiting outside for is maybe 5 minutes the most. To make sure, schedule yourself so that you don't be waiting on the public transportation for longer than 5 minutes. Just being in the snow for a minute is a different thing from being in the snow for 40 minutes or 30 minutes. You don't want to put yourself through that. As I was filming this video, the weirdest thing happened. My car could not move. I was going up the hill and it couldn't move. At the weather when you're in Canada, before, in the morning, in the night, continue to check because you don't even know when a snowstorm may come. When I first came to Canada and I was in school, I was not prepared and I didn't know that it was going to be a snowstorm, and I went to school not knowing that it was going to be a snowstorm, and I basically got stuck to school. Your girl had to spend about $200 on Uber. Yes, $200. So do not put yourself through that. Please do not. And I always say drive safely. This is coming from a person that has a hard time doing that, but it is very, very important to drive safely like in Canada, because you can definitely drift. Trust me, I've seen it, and it happened to me before, like a little drift, woo, a little out of control there. Like, you gotta be very, very cautious. The roads are wet. Something that I have learned too is try your best to avoid like any piles of snow. Like, don't be on the corners too much, because then you're gonna get stuck. So that also is something that you will have to take into consideration. But all in all, winters in Canada, it's not so bad once you get adjusted to it. It's just all about planning and just being prepared. That's all. But I hope you enjoyed this video. That's all that I have for you today. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all on the next video. Bye.